Good morning, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2. I am taking a break, and I figured I have so many videos that I need to kind of do. I'm going to do a second one here, and we'll kind of talk about something that we've talked about a little bit this morning. But once again, thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the subscriptions. We're moving ahead. But like I said, I wanted to catch up with some. I have probably over 30 of these that I need to do, so I want to catch up on one. Also, I'm going to start to put these in categories because there's questions and comments you guys are making that we need to kind of put together in categories. So there's one category I'm going to try to take care of a lot of these this week, and that's women's attraction. But we also have one on God and retention. We have one on just practical types of things, and also questions about semen retention and all that kind of stuff, and also as well as a bunch of other ones. So we're going to put these in categories, how we can try to better ourselves and things like that. All right, so this question or comment comes from Eduardo, one of our great viewers who's made a lot of great comments, and I saw that he made one recently again. Also, Scott Allen made a great one too, and I want to kind of shout out to both you guys real fast. But this one is going to be by Eduardo, and this is a good point that we need to bring out. Now, he says that look for the woman's energy. And I think we all agree that in many regards, you don't want to waste your energy, obviously, by just releasing yourself. But if you're going to find somebody that you want to spend some time with, and that's part of your goals, and obviously we want to be happy and have joy and things like that, the key thing from all the people that I've had seen with success over the years is they've had one person. Not several people, and kind of just, kind of all over the place. And it really becomes chaotic when that happens. And then you got to also remember that you got to not always let other people know what you're doing. And this creates a lot of lies and other kinds of problems that you don't really need. Obviously, because you're trying to become the best person you can become and achieve a bunch of goals, whether it's spiritual, financially, physical, those type of things. You're not going to necessarily waste your time on just a lot of different people, because what is that really achieving? And on top of that, you're losing energy for no particular reason except just to a short-term pleasure. In the long run, at time it makes you a lot more upset, and it doesn't accomplish the goals you're trying to achieve. So we look at this idea that Eduardo put together, and he says, don't be fooled by the looks, but look for the energy. I think that's a very astute observation. And Eduardo puts together a lot of astute observations that we've talked about. But here's another one that I do want to comment on, because I think he's right on the mark again with this one. So we talk about this. We have to realize again, and we make this assumption because I believe it's a true one, that we're made of energy and matter. And that's something you can look in the science area and physics specifically and figure that out. So if we know that people are made of energy, there's going to be people that are going to be higher and lower frequency. Another one that I'm going to kind of comment on here as we talk about this is one by Scott Allen. So I'm going to give a shout out to Scott as well, along with Eduardo on this one, because they're kind of talking about very similar ideas here. So when we talk about people, they're going to have either high energy or low energy for a number of reasons. If they have a lot of stress from an emotional standpoint, that energy is going to be sucked away from them too. If they're going through a lot of trauma, energy types of things, they're going to lose energy. Physically, of course, as we know, if they release all the time, they're going to become tired, and they're going to be less able to deal with a lot of the issues. And so this becomes a double whammy. They not only get the physical, but then they start being more stressed out, more anxious, more depressed, and now they start losing emotional stress as well. And I probably should do a separate one on that, but the connection between emotional, and I think that's a good one to kind of write down here, between the emotional and the physical, because the two levels of stress really are connected. So let me write that down. So emotional and physical. But anyway, when we look at this, the idea that you really want to kind of look at is the idea that as we're focusing on this, we're really kind of looking at trying to figure out that energy level of the people we're in. Now, a person may look good God may have blessed them with good looks, but until you get to know that person and see their energy level, and sometimes you can see it, if you're pretty observant, you can probably notice it right away. But for the most part, you're not going to really notice it until you really kind of interact with that person. But there's some people that you will see right away, they have high energy. And I believe, and we'll talk about this in another one, that I think as we look at this, there's one that was, and I can't remember who it is. Oh yeah, Optical Man. So Optical Man, I'm going to give you a shout out too. The longer you retain, the higher your frequency will become. And because of your frequency is higher, now you're attracting higher frequency women and men in obviously collegial situations that are going to help you. So for your job and purpose success. So those people are going to be attracted to you. The more you're on retention, the higher your energy frequency raises. So because of that, now you're focusing on looking at people around you. And as Eduardo says, you are going to look at people who just have no energy. It could be weightlifters, it could be anybody. They could look good. And I think also we had somebody who was talking about weightlifting and energy too, and I like that analogy. A lot of you guys kind of triggering me with other thoughts here as I'm seeing this, but there was one person that mentioned this, and I don't want to mess up the name situation here, but there was a person who mentioned about weightlifting, that you could look good, but still not be a weightlifter. So let me see who that is. But anyway, I can't really find it. But anyway, someone mentioned it, and then maybe I'll go back to it. But yes, you could look good. You could look really good, at least in your younger ages, especially people who are 18, 20, 25, 30, but they don't have any energy. And I've seen beautiful men and beautiful women, and the women especially, are people, but they have no energy. And so it eventually catches up with them, I believe, that the outside of yourself eventually starts representing the inside. And so people who have low energy, and they haven't saved their energy, retained their energy, or they don't even know anything about this, and they just lose energy, and they're always angry, they're always upset. You can just see them walking through. They have negative energy running around. You have to avoid those people like the plague. Now, if you have to talk with them because of relatives, things like that, well, of course you've got to, but just keep in back of your mind, the more time interacted with them, the more chance you're also becoming tempted. And so you have to make sure, because we're visual creatures. Now I'm talking about men here. We're visual creatures, so when we see a woman, we see attraction. But remember, the looks itself is not what you're looking for, because looks will come and go, and young people look good as they normally would, right? But the key is, as Eduardo said, don't be fooled by the looks. Really make an effort to know the energy level. We're talking about here, is this person giving you a positive energy level with you? Or are they become really toxic? And that was another topic that we got to focus on too. Toxic people. Are they toxic? Which means they're drawing energy. You can tell a person. They complain all the time. They're upset. They're angry looking. They just look angry, right? They don't look very happy. They don't look very joyful, or they're angry, whatever it might be. They may be blaming God for their life. They may be blaming anything, but they're not happy people. And because they're not happy people, all of a sudden they reach out and they get anger towards others. Maybe it's a tone of voice. Maybe they're looking at things. Those people, no matter how good looking they are, they're going to be miserable for you, because you're in a state where you're raising your frequency every day. Every day, and like I'm at 907 or 8, something like that. You're raising your frequency every day. It's a lifestyle change, as DSM said. A lifestyle change. And because of this, your frequency is going up. You cannot allow yourself to be with people that are negative and downers. And this is what Eduardo was really saying, and I totally agree with what he's saying. And the same thing with Scott Allen. Because what they're both talking about is the fact that you have to make sure that you avoid those people who are low vibration. Because what's going to happen, my friends, is those low vibration people, will become energy suckers, vampire suckers, because they know that something's missing. They may not identify, maybe they're caught in their own brainwashed type of attitudes and the way they look at life. But maybe they're caught up to the point where they're not happy, and so now they're going to reach out to other people. This is almost like, once again, the analogy, and I love this vampire analogy because there's so much to this that is similar when it comes to retention. But the vampire, they need to go out every night and get people and eat and suck blood out of people's veins to live. These negative people have such negative aura that they're looking for people to give them some energy. And I think, as Eduardo said even recently, this morning in his comments, that they're going to feel happy because you're releasing to them. Now, if you want to present them a present and you want to be with one person, I have no trouble with that. But just remember, every time you're doing this, you're losing some energy. I mean, you're transferring it, of course. You're giving it to somebody else, and they're happy with it, of course, especially if it's your wife. And if it's your girlfriend, that's a decision you have to make with her. But again, the main purpose has to be something long-term. And I think, in my mind at least, God has made the main purpose to have children and move past that and develop a family. And beyond that, you're trying to use that nutrients to actually help you and to be able to make your life better so you can help serve other people. But what you got to do is you got to be careful of all of that imagery, all that stuff we see around us, pictures and things, of how the illusion is of attraction. Most people do not look like the way they come off on a picture or even in person because they can make makeup. Obviously, in person is a little bit different than a picture, especially if you do fake pictures and you're not really real on the pictures. But as we look at this, I think Eduardo and Scott have hit the point on this one right in the head. Look for a woman's energy. Do not be fooled by their looks, because the energy will tell you about the real person, especially when they're younger. Now, as they get older, you're going to see more of their real looks come out with their energy. And that person, if they've retained their energy, then they're going to look great, especially no matter how old they go, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. But you don't want to be fooled, because what's going to happen is those people who are negative, they're going to lean on you. They're going to try to, and they may not even realize this. This may be more of a subconscious thing, but they're going to try to draw your energy, just like a vampire would. That's why I call them vampire suckers, energy suckers. And they have evil intent. Now, they don't know it's evil intent. I think the evil one is using them to do this, put them through bad situations where they have that sort of evil attitude, so they're taking over people. But the question really is that you want to look at is the idea that as you look at people around you, make sure you understand that those people around you all have energy levels like you do. And you have to be careful of people who have negative energy levels, because those are the people who are going to try to, in order to survive, they have to try to balance out the energy level. And they're going to find people, and their force is so strong in the wrong way that they're going to suck your blood. And I mean blood, they're going to suck your energy. Okay? Almost like a vampire. They're going to come after you. Now, they may not do it a physical way, it may be subconscious, but they're going to draw the life out of you. Now, how do I know this? Well, let's look at the idea of listening. If you sit there and listen to somebody for a period of time, you're the one who will be drained. It's almost like that person is passing energy from them to you, emotional energy. You're exhausted. I remember talking to somebody for, listening to them for 2 hours, vent about a problem. And I felt exhausted. They felt great because they let it all go. And all of a sudden their energy became, the negative energy left them for a period of time until they get upset about something else. And it went on me, right? Now, what ends up happening here, right, is that person will continue to be negative, but they will have bits of period of time where they're going to be okay because they've let it go on someone else. You cannot allow that to happen. You've got to be very strong as a warrior and not allow people to suck your energy dry. And that's when you become a true warrior, when you recognize there's people around you who can draw you down. And so they may or may not realize they have an evil intent, but what they're trying to do is make you a victim in many ways. A victim of their own negative energy and their attitudes and things that they push through. So 2 key good points here from Scott and from, we're looking at Scott and Eduardo. Very good points they're making. When they're talking about looking for the energy level, you really need to look at a woman's energy, not just how they look. I mean, in our society, we are facing an illusion. And the more you kind of realize this, the more you will see this. If you ever see a person without their makeup, you would be astonished. The thing is that it's an illusion. It's an illusion of attraction. It's been like this since day one. Since they developed makeup, they developed ways to relook things. Go back to Cleopatra, go back to a lot of things. Same old philosophy. There's not too many differences here. I go back to the analogy of the Beauty and the Beast. All right? The beast, that's us, the males, we don't really change. Many of us, yeah, of course, don't wear makeup or things like that, right? We are who we are. We're the beast. But we are the ones that are underestimated how much power and worth we have, because we're the ones that have that seed to create life. That's important because you cannot create life without that seed. And so the job of the woman is to, if they really want to have children, is to soothe this beast, get them to the point where they can actually transfer the seed to them. And it's a very interesting type of look at it. Now, maybe going back down to the barbaric days, but it's very simple, but to my mind, it's very true. And so when you look at this, those individuals are trying to take your energy away to make you a lot more agreeable. As we talked about before, you don't want to be agreeable. You want to be disagreeable, but controlled. And that's how your beast mentality comes out. Do not allow people to control your beast mentality, your bestial mentality. Do not let that happen, because you're going to become someone who then will become at the whim of someone else, become desperate, beta male, all this kind of stuff happens because you're not keeping your strong frame. And that's important. Okay? All right, my friends, I'm going to let go on this one, but I want to catch one up before my break, during my break here. Hope you guys continue on, and look forward to talk to you guys next time. Until then, God bless you guys, and battle on.